In the aftermath of two devastating air disasters, the Jeju Air crash in South Korea and the Air India tragedy, questions have emerged that reverberate far beyond the crash sites. At the heart of these tragedies lies a contentious debate. Are pilots being unfairly scapegoated for catastrophic failures, or are these disasters the result of human error in the cockpit? As families mourn, investigators probe, and unions speak out, the search for truth has become a matter of both technical scrutiny and profound human consequence. On December 29, 2024, a Jeju Air Boeing 737-800 flying from Thailand to South Korea approached Muan International Airport. What should have been a routine landing turned into the nation's deadliest aviation disaster in recent history. The aircraft made a belly landing, skidded across the tarmac, and collided with a concrete barrier, erupting into a fireball that claimed 179 lives. In the days and months that followed, investigators from South Korea and the United States pored over wreckage, black boxes, and maintenance records, searching for answers. Preliminary findings pointed toward a sequence of critical events set in motion by a bird strike. Feathers and bloodstains were discovered in both engines, confirming that avian intrusion had compromised at least one of the plane's power plants. According to the initial report, this bird strike damaged the right engine of the 737-800. However, it was the next actions in the cockpit that have become the focal point of both investigation and controversy. The report asserts that the pilot, in the chaos and confusion of the moment, mistakenly shut down the left engine, the less damaged of the two, rather than the right. This error, investigators say, led to a total loss of power, rendering the aircraft unable to execute a safe landing. But these preliminary conclusions have been met with fierce resistance. Families of the victims, still grappling with unimaginable loss, have condemned the government's findings, arguing that the investigation is premature and unfairly attributes blame to the pilots without adequate transparency. No one has directly seen or heard the cockpit voice recorder or the flight data recorder, said Kim Yoon-mi, a representative of the victims' families. We weren't given any proper explanation about those things. We need to hear that to know. We have the right. Their demand is simple. Before any conclusions are drawn, the full evidence, including cockpit recordings, must be made available for independent scrutiny. The Jeju Air Pilots Union has echoed these concerns with even greater intensity. In a public statement, the union declared that it was strongly angered by the findings, denouncing what it called a malicious attempt to shift blame onto the pilot. The union insists that a full and fair investigation must consider all contributing factors, not just actions in the cockpit. Among the issues still under review are the design and placement of the runway barrier, the response time for bird strike warnings, the functioning of the landing gear system, and possible systemic vulnerabilities within the aircraft itself. As the investigation continues, the government has postponed the release of its partial findings, acknowledging the family's objections and the potential for misinterpretation. The final report is now expected by June 2026, and its conclusions will have profound implications for aviation safety, pilot training, and the broader conversation about risk and responsibility in the skies. A similar storm of controversy has enveloped the investigation into the Air India disaster. On June 12, 2025, an Air India Boeing 787 crashed shortly after takeoff, resulting in the loss of 260 lives. Here, too, the focus has narrowed on cockpit actions. Cockpit recordings reportedly indicate that the fuel control switches were set to cut off moments after takeoff, a move that would have starved the engines of fuel and precipitated a catastrophic failure. Investigators have yet to determine whether this was an accidental or intentional action, and the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AAIB, has cautioned against premature conclusions. The Federation of Pilots of India has spoken out strongly against early reports that attribute the crash to human error. They have called for a comprehensive, transparent inquiry that examines not only the pilot's actions, but also aircraft systems, procedural protocols, and potential mechanical or design faults. It is vital that every possible factor is evaluated before blame is assigned, the Federation said in a statement, emphasizing that aviation disasters are rarely the result of a single mistake or oversight. What emerges from both tragedies is a complex picture in which the interplay of human judgment, machine reliability, and environmental unpredictability can have shattering consequences. The preliminary focus on pilot error has provoked a powerful backlash not only from those directly affected, but also from the broader aviation community. For families, the pain of loss is compounded by the fear that loved ones' memories are being tarnished by incomplete or misleading narratives. For pilots and crews, the investigations raise urgent questions about training, support, and the need for robust safety systems that can compensate for inevitable human error. Underlying these debates is a broader struggle over transparency and accountability. Families and unions are demanding access to full recordings, data, and investigative findings. They argue that only with complete information can the true causes of these disasters be understood, and, more importantly, future tragedies prevented. They point to unresolved questions. Was the runway at Muan International Airport adequately designed to handle emergency landings? Were bird strike warnings issued promptly and effectively? Did aircraft systems provide clear and timely alerts to the crew? And in the case of the Air India crash, what safeguards existed to prevent accidental activation of critical switches? These questions matter, not just for those who have lost loved ones, but for everyone who steps onto an airplane and trusts in the safety of flight. In the coming months, as final reports are prepared and released, the world will be watching not only for answers, but for fairness, rigor, and honesty in the pursuit of truth. The stakes are enormous. Beyond the technical findings, the handling of these investigations will shape public confidence in aviation, influence global standards, and determine whether the lessons of tragedy are truly learned. Only by listening to every voice, pilots, families, unions, and independent experts, can the industry move forward, honoring the memory of those lost and making the skies safer for all.